All right. Good evening, guys. How you doing? Epionic, how you doing? How are my levels? Good? Getting a couple colors kind of squared away here. We're all District Foundry. How you doing, man? Welcome in, welcome in. Hope you... Yeah, do you like that? Hope your recovery is going just phenom. Ugh. How's everybody doing tonight? Got a couple people rolling in. We'll just kind of take a little moment. I'm gonna take these headphones off. So I always have them on at the beginning just to get my levels right. I don't really like having them on. I think background music is great when you're watching Twitch, but for me, when I'm trying to keep my thoughts together about what I'm painting and about how to explain what I'm painting, man, I wind up getting confused. So we got this. If you remember, back it was like almost a week ago. So we were off Thursday, but we were on last Monday. So yeah, it was like 12 days ago or like 10 days ago or something like that. We started this Darth Vader up. We got him assembled. We started painting him in. We talked about kind of painting black and what that means, about how black isn't really black. Black is just a whole lot of grays and getting lighting correct and all that stuff. And so here we are. So we're going to continue on with work with him. We have a couple things that we need to do. The first thing that we need to do is kind of clear up all of Vader's suit parts. You can tell right here there's this like weird white spot on the behind his leg that we need to take care of. We need to get, if you look on the photo that I got here, we have these gray slots that are up on his chest plate area. We need to turn gray. Then we need to jump in with these buttons and get all these buttons and doodads all colorful. After that, we have his lightsaber to do, and then we have this whole base to do, which is going to be more time than I think most people would realize, because it is we're going to be painting it lava style. It's going to be kind of on the Mustafar kind of range here. So really deep dark browns with reds in the cracks and crevices, giving us a light source. Then we're going to have the lightsaber, and then we will provide a kind of a third light source. So the lightsaber, so we have light source coming in here. That's why his helmet's shiny up here, right? And why we kind of have all of this is kind of brighter. His lightsaber is going to be a light source. We'll put some OSL light here, kind of giving him some red. And then down here, we're going to have this lava light source, so we're going to have a little bit of orange at the feet. It's going to be a really dynamic, different looking model here once we're all finished with it. So we got a little ways to go here today. District Foundry, I'm so happy you're going to be at Gen Con, man. It's going to be great to see you. I should be at Gen Con, but man, I just had I've had the most stressful week of my life. I don't know. I'm not sure what really... I'm sure there are things that could top the stress of having a kid, but I don't think there's a ton. And here we are. All right, so I'm gonna start off getting Vader's little pauldrons all squared away with this gray. Hopefully y'all can hear me. Hopefully everything's good. How are you guys tonight? Everything great? I have some things I want to talk about as we kind of move forward, but not necessarily about the show, just about things that I've learned about commission painting while I have large life events going on. So I think that this is gray. That's how we're gonna do it, at least. Isophane. J Road Dog, how you doing, man? How you doing? Welcome in, welcome in. Yeah, it is about time we finish this guy. I mean, you know, little why shouldn't I be on painting when I have other life things going on? So we're just getting this blocked in here, getting this gray in here. We'll probably go back to these bright white spots and kind of use some black and really knock those down. We have a really good foundation of where we want all this color to be. Yours is finally done as well. Did you post it up on the Discord? You should. Post it right in that gallery section. And if you haven't been on our Discord, you should go. It's been a little quiet recently, or at least I haven't been on there posting a whole lot recently because, I mean, you know, just been spending the last few days in a hospital. Not the funnest thing for those of you that have spent the last few days in a hospital. You know, it's kind of the pits. You can't really do what you want to do. Everybody's telling you to do stuff that you'd rather not. And you know it's the best thing for you, but still not so great. So we're just gonna be painting this guy. I'm just taking this gray. Just making this gray, just pushing up how the light, I'm pushing it, making it just a little bit lighter until the paneling on Vader's shoulders are really distinct. Oh yeah, I'm fine. We just had a baby on last Thursday, and man, it was a long haul. So went in on Wednesday. My wife, they said it was time for my wife to get induced. So went in on Wednesday to have the baby. They started off her being induced, and 20 hours later, we started having some complications, and then they wound up doing a emergency C-section. And tell you what, for as routine as they say it is, it's still a pretty scary experience to see your wife get carted off, like, for 20 hours. You know, she's in pain, you're trying to figure everything out, and then at hour 20, when they're like, "Oh, hey, you know, we have a little bit of a heart rate drop. We're going to do an emergency C-section." So just you know, if you want to just come over here and sign some papers, that'd be great. That was pretty intimidating. And then, but everything worked out. Everything was okay. Then we spent the next 3 days in the hospital trying to, you know, deal with the newborn. So it was just you know, and we're still trying to figure out a newborn. We don't really have any idea what we're doing. Like, as much as people, you know, will say, "Oh, do this." Oh, yeah, it's, you know, I don't think anything can really prepare you for that in any capacity. I think you just have to kind of live it and figure it out, and eventually you'll get to the point where it's easier. Yeah, and then District Foundry over there comes over and puts himself into the hospital. Silly guy. But lucky for us, from everything that I understand, he's doing better. He's figuring it all out. He's working his way back to at least some semblance of normalcy, and we couldn't be happier. Okay, so what I mean, the same thing that we've been doing on this guy the whole time. We're working from kind of a dark to a light, right? When the light is coming down here, this side is going to be a little brighter than this side. This side is going to catch more light at the bottom, just like this side is going to catch more light. So once I get my initial blend going from top to bottom here, now it's time to just kind of take that darker color and just kind of really lightly just kind of push some of that darker back into the recesses here to kind of even out where the light is all coming from. We're just darkening up that blend just a little bit. This is something that you're just gonna have to, that if you're doing this kind of thing yourself, you're just gonna have to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on. Don't be afraid to kind of play with the light sources and see it and say, oh man, okay, that looks better, that looks worse. It's all just practice that you're just gonna have to just kind of figure out when you're looking at the model, okay, does that look natural? And if you say, yep, that looks natural, then you got it. If you're like, man, okay, I don't see anything necessarily wrong with that particularly, that's where you want to be. Okay. We don't, as much as we want to worry about the black and make sure that the black's good, once you got the black kind of where you want it, the OSL is really gonna be kind of powering over a lot of this stuff. So I'm not gonna worry about the lighting over on this side, because all that's gonna come from the lightsaber glow over here. Now I'm not worrying about the feet too much, because that's where we're gonna get some of the lava glow coming up over here. There's a couple ways that we can do this. We can do this with either the airbrush or with glazing, and we might try a little bit of both. I think airbrush is, on this particular model, is going to be our friend mostly. So let's pull out some reds. What do we need? We need reds and yellows, and it looks like a green. All right. So I forgot that my my camera wasn't pulling in colors the way that it was. The paint cam isn't working, so it wasn't working the last time, and I haven't touched this at all since the last time I streamed, actually. I need to chat with you. Oh, that was a whisper for District Foundry. Well, now everybody can see. I am very quiet. Well, good to know. Let's turn up this. All right, how am I doing now? Better? Better, Vulcan? Have I just blown everybody's ears out, or am I about the same? Much. Okay, great. Okay, so let's push. So with these buttons, You don't need to do too terribly much. The biggest thing to remember about when you're painting in these little tiny details is that painting in the lines will make all of the difference. If you're painting what you're supposed to be painting, and you leave all the other background stuff that you've already worked on out, then you are just steps ahead of the game. All your paint stuff is gonna look so much better. And that's just a matter of brush control. And there's nobody that can teach you anything about that at all. All you can do is just practice. You just gotta practice that stuff. The more that you paint, the more that you can kind of practice this this fine brush control. If it takes 2 coats, to get the color that you actually want, then it takes 2 coats, and that's that. Stream cut out for a second, you had to refresh. Well, as far as I know, that's on your end. I have 0 dropped frames. Just slab contrast paint on there, it'll be perfect. So, speaking of, I want to start, I want to pick up a couple contrast paints, try them out. The more that I've been watching a lot of videos with the contrast paints. A lot of people working on stuff, a lot of people kind of hitting those, kind of showing some demo videos of what the contrast paints do, what they look like. And I think for people that are just trying to get a good tabletop result, the contrast paints are going to be just so good. If you want to paint up your Imperial Assault army, all of your Imperial Assault figures, all your Legion figures, in you're like, I have a weekend that I want to paint all of my Stormtroopers and all of my Rebel Troopers, the contrast paints are going to be like your best friend. I feel like the more that I look at this stuff, the more that I feel like, man, these contrast paints are going to be just amazing for that. They are not, however, going to be a substitute for, this kind of stuff. If you're working on things where light matters, where you're worried about where everything is going to go, you still need to know all of the basic techniques. Can good painters use contrast paints in order to facilitate effects they want? Sure, totally. I think that's going to be something that we see a lot of, is really good painters saying, oh yeah, for this step I just used a contrast paint because it's faster. Right? But I think for a lot of painters, having your contrast paints as just a direct go-to is not going to be very helpful. But like I said, if you want to, so I'm gonna swap to some green ink. It's really, really dark green. We're just gonna take the green ink and go over Vader's eyes, because in my mind, I don't know if it's true or not, but like in my headcanon, Vader has these green lenses. And I don't really want to paint a whole green lens. I just want to give the grays and whites that we have, I want to give a little bit of a green tint to it. And this green ink is great for that. Long story, but yes, that's canon. Get hyped for Fly Better Grand Championship at Las Vegas. Oh, they're doing the Grand Championship at the LVO. I assume that the Las Vegas in January is only the Las Vegas Open. In my head, that's the only thing that actually exists. Okay, yeah. And then you like it for something, but you think they're advertised wrong. They're not beginner paints. They really require good brush control. Yeah, I'm interested to try them out. Like everything, it's all about having a good idea of what you want to do and then using good technique in order to actually make that happen. Okay, so we got a little bit of green in there. We got that kind of lit up. And so we don't have too much more on him. Now it's time to start now I think maybe it's time, if we can be careful, to pop him off of his base. If we can, if I really, oh, okay, got a foot. Okay, we got 1 foot. We glued him onto his base last time. Oh man, it is warm in my shop tonight. I'll tell you what, might need to take a 3 or 4 minute break and turn on the fan. Oh man. Okay, so after you glue something, what you don't want to happen is we don't want him breaking at the ankle. The ankle is the weak point on this whole endeavor here. So we want to make sure that we're really, really being careful to break the bond of the glue and the resin at the foot. And not, then I break this. Awesome. But I guess now we have more room to work. I guess if we have to paint on there with his foot on there, I guess we probably can. It'll just take us a little bit longer, but that's okay. All right, well, can't get his foot off without breaking it, so without breaking him in any sort of substantial way. Oh man, broke everything. Let that dry for a minute. This back, picking all these little rocks. Now, because it kind of broke off of its little insert that we had, we're gonna have to put a little bigger glob of glue on there. We're gonna have to kind of change where it attaches to. The reason why is because now we don't have something that it's inserted into, so we don't want someone who's playing with it to have to just accidentally flick it and have it fall off. Whew. Alright, well that dries. I'm gonna go grab a fan really quick and turn it on, because man, it is just scorching in here. If you want to easily remove something glued, use Zip Kicker to make it brittle till you're ready to remove it. Yeah, definitely. I'm lazy. I just I wasn't necessarily, we weren't talking about doing anything like crazy with the base until after I'd already fully assembled it. They said, "Oh, will you make it a lava base?" And I was like, "I guess." So hold on. Grab this fan right here, then just get a little bit of airflow in here. Sorry if you can hear it, it's kind of a loud fan. You need tweezers for that, really? Yeah, it's okay, we got it. Once you do stuff like the hillbilly like quick way long enough, eventually you get okay at it. You posted your Vader in Discord. We'll look at it in a little bit, or I'll definitely look at it later. We might look at it on stream as we kind of get closer. But awesome, glad to see it. Neoprene covered tweezers. J Road Dog is just all full of the good advice tonight. Okay, so how do we want to do the ground? Let's swap over to the airbrush. It's been quite a long time since I got to use the airbrush in any capacity. So what we're gonna do is just do some detail airbrush work. Avoid those feet. I'm going to be using mahogany, which is a super dark brown. Mahogany. Add a little airbrush thinner to it, mix it up, and we're just going to be slowly working our way around the base, kind of getting a good, nice, warm brown base coat, and then we'll start lighting it up with kind of more of maybe like a red. Maybe we'll add like a red to it. The trick about basing is you want it to complement the model that you're painting, and you don't want it to overshadow the model that you're painting. Like, it's perfectly fine to and sometimes it happens that you paint up a model and it winds up that your base looks way better than your actual paint did, and you're like, oh, okay. And all I'm worried about right now is painting over the things that I've already painted, right? Like, I want to get good coverage, but I'm really trying hard to avoid his feet in any real capacity, because I don't really know exactly how high and how far we're doing this light source. So in this cape area, that's where it's going to be the hardest to kind of get into. When we have to get into it with a brush, it's going to even be a little more difficult. So that's why I really wanted him off his base, but since when do I get what I want? Yeah, Model Air. I love the Vallejo stuff. You know, I bought them on, like I've told the story a bunch of times. I bought it on sale. I bought like 200 of their paints on sale one, like, I don't know, a while ago. At least a year, maybe two. Oh, we might be approaching 2. And yeah, they've just been so good. Their lifespan has kept up so good. Everything's been great with them. So with this mahogany now it's time to start brightening it up. And it's going to be interesting because I'm going to brighten it up and then I'm going to darken it straight down with with like a pigment. I'll go, do I have a pigment out here? I'm not sure if I do. Yep, I do. We're gonna be, as we finish, we'll be using the secret weapon, Pigments Exhaust Black to just like drop all of this down, because if you've ever been to a lava field, you'll know that the rocks are pretty dark brown, but they're also very, very, very black. So we're gonna make them all black, get all that squared away, and then we will start painting in lava. And lava is pretty straightforward to paint in. It's pretty easy once you know it, once you have kind of an idea of what you're doing. Then we'll paint in the glow on his feet, and then we'll move on to the lightsaber. So I added a little bit of leather brown. All I'm really doing is just hitting it from the top here. So this is kind of a, this is the mahogany we had with some leather brown added in. And this is very, and I mean, we can also, like, the more effects that you do, the more, you know, the more either muddy it can look or the better it can look. So, you know, if we wanted to, instead of making this like super dark, like, you know, crazy pigmented, we could make this a, we could use like a rust, make it look kind of like iron oxide. Yeah, yeah, obsidian, I mean, obsidian is not black, really, it's clear, that has kind of a black tone to it. But yeah, basalt is really dark brown. I was in a previous life, before I moved out to Indiana, I was actually an archaeologist for the Bureau of Land Management. And so I know my way around conchoidally fracturing igneous rocks. And for maybe the, I don't know, there might be one person in chat that understood what I just said. Yeah, brown is the best base coat. Like, if you don't know what to base coat your model in, and you're not working in like a blue, maybe, yeah, in like a blue, then, yeah, brown, like just base coat in brown. Start in brown, start with a gray, start with a brown, and then you can kind of go from there. Like yellow started from brown, always looks the best. It looks so much better than anything else. I like yellow moved up from brown way more than I like yellow pushed down from white. Okay, so we're gonna use this Vallejo Model Wash Light Rust. I'm just gonna get that kind of like, we're just gonna kind of slab that on. I don't want to be too I don't want to be too like what's the word, uniform with this. I'm just gonna kind of just like, this is almost like a stipple, right? A stipple is a technique where you actually tap your brush like this. Usually you're tapping it like much smaller, but all I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of trying to give the rocks a little bit of varying color. And remember, this is Star Wars, so there's not necessarily any such thing as obsidian in Star Wars. We just have, yeah, good start brown for gold. Yeah, definitely. Let's see, we can also, I think what we also want to do is we want to take some black, and I think what we want to do is kind of push black down at the bottom of this model. And you'll kind of see, hopefully you kind of see what I'm doing here as I'm kind of shadow boxing the rocks up top. with the black at the bottom. So this is just black thinned out. It might be too thinned out, but we'll be fine. Okay, so I have like a 45-degree angle down towards the bottom, and I'm really just focusing on the base itself. But hopefully, as we kind of move forward, this brighter edge to darker pigment kind of creates a little more interest, makes it a little more interesting. In another life, you would have been a geologist focused on gemstones. That's awesome. Gemstones are super cool. I know very little necessarily about them, but I did minor in geology, so I have my appreciation for them. I have my appreciation for all the rocks. We're gonna have another Smash Bros night here coming up soon. What soon means is kind of yet to be determined. Maybe not this weekend, but maybe the weekend after. That kind of sounds fun. On a Saturday night. We'll have to see what the actual streaming schedule is. We might even do it on like I don't know. Like a Friday evening maybe, if there's nothing else going on the stream channel. Last time it was super fun. There may or may not be obsidian in Star Wars, but there is a drink called Gin and Tonic, a Douglas Adams reference. That's cool. I didn't know that. Okay. So once you get kind of your base dry, we'll talk about applying these pigments. If you've never applied pigments before, they can feel a little tricky. I need isopropyl alcohol. I'll be back in. We're just gonna walk over here, get some. All right. So pigments are just that. They are literally ground up material that is pigmented. If you get some on your finger, it's really black, it's really fine. Okay, and cover a whole lot of space. There's lots of ways to apply pigments. The way that we're going to apply it tonight is to take some isopropyl alcohol, kind of make a little bit of like a, I don't know, kind of a fine slurry, I guess, is for lack of a better word. So basically we take our paintbrush, we put a little bit of isopropyl alcohol on the, on our paint tray there, and then you can just take some. This will all wash out of your brush. You don't have to worry about it. We'll take a whole. Here, let me see if I can get this in here. Whole load. This is just mixed with just a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. You can get it as dry or as wet as you want, right? It'll kind of, you can get to the point where it kind of acts a little bit like paint. But once you get a little bit of the slurry on there, and you get most of the isopropyl alcohol off of your brush, then we can do that same kind of stippling technique. You can also dry brush this on. This just kind of creates all I'm doing is just using the flat of my brush just to tap, 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 tap. And with that, you can also just take a little bit of once you get that kind of pigment on there, then you can take a drier brush you can kind of wipe off the excess, and it'll give it kind of more of a really natural look for these rocks. So you can see that I'm kind of still leaving a lot of that brown underneath, but we're really covering a lot of it with black. It's because we want it to have this kind of volcanic feel, but I also want there to be maybe a hint of rust in there, maybe, or like some iron oxide. Maybe there's, you know, for the, don't want to get too sciencey on you, but you know, maybe within this formation, this lava formation, there's some, you know, there's some iron, and you know, so there's some iron inclusions, and based on the atmosphere of the planet, maybe those inclusions are oxidizing just like super quick. So you were hoping to get a switch with your tax return, but alas, it was not as much as you had counted on. That's sad. Right now, I am the switch isn't even my primary thing that I'm working on. I am currently trying my hardest to become better at Mario. So I've been in love. Originally got me into Twitch was watching Super Mario Maker videos on YouTube, and then I found, I was like, oh, these guys that I watch, they actually, you know, stream on Twitch. So I watched their YouTube videos on Twitch itself, right? And watch them play Super Mario Maker. Now that Super Mario Maker is coming to the Switch, I really want to get good at it, but I'm really bad at. I'm not great at Mario. Because for the same reason I'm not good at X-Wing. I don't really practice. So I'm working through some ROMs of Super Mario World, trying to get better at that. I played through the new Super Mario Brothers. I got that all done. I finished that game. And I just want to be good at, want to do all the hard stuff on Super Mario World. So right now, so after you have that kind of placed in, you can just let it sit for a while. Eventually you have to varnish it shut if on pigments, but otherwise that's a good technique for pigments. Otherwise, you can also just take the straight pigments on your brush, don't mix them in isopropyl alcohol, and you can just go for it, right? Just hit whatever you want to hit, and then just varnish it or seal it with isopropyl alcohol, right? Just use like kind of like a spritzer or something, but go real light. But matte varnish will seal all that stuff in. So it could be a really good tool for like dirtying metal firearms, dirtying metal things if you're using black. Pigments are using just a ton of stuff. Yeah. But anyway, well, as far as like Twitch stuff, or as far as video games go, yeah, I hooked my Switch controller up to Steam, and been getting going with that. Yeah, it's gonna make it's right exactly. That's exactly what this stuff is for texturing. Vulcan says it's gonna make for great texturing. Exactly. This and then I'm starting to plug in all this red. Right. This is just that blood red. I didn't mix it as strong as I could have. That's why it kind of looks a little pink. And I'm trying to give you a good angle and paint it in here. But with him on the base, it can make it difficult. So, pro tip, if you guys are planning on doing kind of a more extravagant base for your model, it's sometimes a really good idea to paint it all, or not paint your model not on the base first, or use some sticky tack or something to keep the model on the base while you paint him, and then go back to a different, or then once you finish painting the base and the model, then glue them together. That's where I was going with this. So with lava, you don't need a lot of what you're doing with lava is just giving hints, right? Some red here, some little glowish type stuff here, there. The lucky thing about lava is that it's a light source into itself, right? Typically when you're looking at lava, when you're actually watching lava flows, the lava is so bright that it's providing its own light. It's okay, it's like me and Sonic the Hedgehog. Love that game, but in my 20 years of playing it, I've never actually beat them without cheating. Yeah, Sonic is hard, man. I think all the old platformers are really difficult. But I also need to practice Super Smash Bros. 2 because Lou the Lunatic called me out the other day, said he was the real Luke. So need to show him that that was not the case. So I went back and reshook up the red. And I'm kind of punching in some red here. All the places that are actually going to be like deep red. When you're painting lava is pretty straightforward. Okay, so here's how lava works. When lava is hot, lava is typically like bright white, right? As it cools, it gets more red. So when you paint lava, you're going to be painting the center. You're going to be highlighting the red to white in the center. So this is kind of like how we did the Borderlands stuff. You're just going to go opposite of what you typically how you would highlight, and you just kind of highlight in the red, and then inside it you put in the your yellow and all of your other colors. Right. So boom, we got there. So now we just go a hint smaller. We take that yellow that we had before, mix that with the red. When you mix yellow and red, you get this orange color, which is great. Lava has a lot of orange in it. If you wind up going over a lot of your red, that's okay. But if you get it waterier, it kind of can flow, right? So you keep your red in there. Orange as a color while you're painting is usually the like some of the worst color to paint. Orange does not have. There's not a whole lot of good oranges out there. If anybody knows of like really high coverage oranges, please let me know, because I have no good advice for the people who are like, I want to paint this whole army orange. Other than good luck. So I'm really going heavy on the orange here. Orange lava looks better than red lava. It's more believable. But again, because orange has such horrible coverage, you almost just have to start with a red base in order to get to where you want to go to. And lava is really, I mean, it's inorganic, but it's a really organic, like, kind of system, right? So it's okay to be just slightly messy on it. Don't feel like you have to be, like, exactly perfect while you're painting lava stuff, because it is unnecessary. So see how I'm painting this right here? This is the same orange that I've been painting with, but see how little coverage you get there compared to how much better the coverage is when you're painting with this, when you're painting with that orange. Scale 75 orange is pretty good. Okay, well that's good to know. I mean, I like scale 75 stuff. Just okay, and then this is kind of a yellow mixed with a white. You can paint just straight yellow on, but I find that when I'm highlighting with yellow, I really like to go with a yellow-white mixture. I tend to find I find that it has just significantly better coverage, and it gets me more of the color that I actually want in the highlight, right? And so, just like, you know, like we've been talking about, the yellow is now going to go into the deepest parts. This parts of the lava is where the yellow is going to go. And then we'll move to just kind of more of like a white. So that lava's starting to look pretty good. We'll keep brightening it up. But I'm starting to be pretty happy with how it looks. We might go back with like a gray and dry brush the whole thing in kind of a gray. That'll just kind of pick out these bright spots and kind of make it look a little more highlighted. So I just added some white to that yellow-white mixture. And just in these pools, in these brightest areas, I'm just kind of adding that color. Just and in like these spots. Oh, too much. Too much. You get too much, just water your brush down a little bit and just kind of take it off. Easy peasy. But obviously, as I think you guys are well aware, this section right here is by far the most important kind of lava section in this whole paint. I do want to brighten up some of these. Like that. That's just where all of the where most of the people are gonna look when they're looking down at the model. They're gonna say, "Oh yeah, okay, that's it right there." Not that you want to skip out on the other parts, but there are parts that you want to take extra time to make sure they look good and appropriate and lava-esque. I was concerned that literal pooled lava would look a bit cheesy, but it looks rather... Yeah, I think it looks okay. Definitely don't... this is definitely, you know, something that you gotta play with, though. Sometimes lava doesn't, like, looks weird on models. But eventually you kind of learn just kind of what the paint should look like and kind of what lava kind of looks like. Definitely, if you're doing this for the first time, you know, Google lava and just have some reference photos up. Just like I have this reference photo of Darth Vader, so I can kind of keep an eye on like what he's supposed to look like. This is, you know, grab some reference photos for lava. Okay, so now let's see if I can't find some, maybe this Twilight Blue. This Twilight Blue right here, this is a Reaper Master Series. And we're just gonna dry brush all these rocks with this a light dry brush. I'm not gonna go too crazy on it. Remember to when you're doing dry brushing, you know, you want to get some paint on your brush there, and you want to take a paper towel and you want to kind of wipe most of it off, right? And always, when you're dry brushing, kind of test in an inconspicuous place that's a little easier to clean up if you don't like it. I think we can even add a little bit of white to that. Make it just a little bit brighter of a blue. Kind of make it a little bit more with Vader's coloring. Because this is the blue that we used for part of Vader's highlight. I'm actually going to switch to the biggin brush. For whatever reason, I really like the bristles on this brush for dry brushing. They're really stiff. And stiff bristles do make for good dry brushing. But again, since we have Vader on this palette, it's a little, or on the base, it's going to be a little harder to get some of the darker, or the areas under him. So we'll just have to look and see how that comes out. If we need to bring in a smaller brush to kind of and then I kind of want to bring in a little more white into this. And just hit the tops of the highest rocks with it. So when you're dry brushing, just like any other highlight, you know, you can change up the color of your paints there. You can, you know, we can go just a little bit brighter on these big edge rocks, while it's a little bit darker as you go towards the center of the model. Because all we're really trying to do with dry brushing is pick out those little details, right? Make it so that this base is a little more interesting. We could edge highlight the whole thing if we really wanted to, but a lot of times for a base that's just completely unnecessary. Okay. Him. Hey, thanks, Shazbot. I appreciate it. Oh. So, so I have exactly 3 more commissions left before I am officially done with commissions, probably forever. This whole pregnancy slash birth slash everything has stressed me out to the point where people have been bothering me about like commissions that I have on the plate for them, you know, and most of them it's like they're totally in the right? Like I'm super slow at doing commissions. People don't quite get that I'm slow at doing commissions. They're like, oh yeah, you say you're slow, but I'm like, no, I'm slow, man. Like I take my time on them. When you get a commission from me, when you get something from me, you should think it is my goal for you to think, yep, that is awesome. That is amazing. That is awesome. I love it. Okay? Sometimes that does not come overnight. That is not something that I can just like whip out in 2 hours and say, okay, here you go, right? I don't do that type of thing. There are plenty of painters, plenty of good painters that do. That are just like, yep, okay, yep, this is my standard. I just paint this to my and here we go, right? But for me, that's not really how it works. It's a lot of, I struggle with paints. I struggle with sitting there thinking about like, all right, is this actually the right scheme that I want for this specific paint job? And man, people have been just like to the point where they're almost like mean, right? And I understand that they want their stuff. I want to get them their stuff, but I mean, life happens, man. And I don't know if it's now that X-Wing's getting bigger or that I'm getting more popular as a painter or what, but people are driving me away from wanting to do like straight commissions for them. And so I probably won't anymore. By the way, this is the same mixture of yellow and red that we had before. I'm just going to take a little bit and we're just going to really lightly hit Vader's foot, right? No, we're also hitting the rock. So I'm probably just going to stop doing commissions for people. And use the paint cast as my painting outlet. Okay, so one thing to note is that we don't want the colors on Vader's feet to be looking like they're turning into lava. Okay, Vader only when he's Vader, he doesn't get lava burned anymore. So even though we push this up with like a light orange glow, and then we're gonna bring it back down with black. Okay, so that it kind of looks a little bit more natural, like it's just light that's kind of hitting. And we probably want to also do like a really Like, this is like crazy, crazy light. Once you start this kind of OSL process, you want to make sure you don't overdo it, but don't underdo it either. There's a right place where you're like, oh, okay, yep, we got some light effect there. Oh, don't be sorry to hear that. Yeah, I mean, that's just life, man. Like I have plenty of other creative things that I have interest in doing. One of them is that I really want to start getting more into making more of these hats. I love this hat, and it's super awesome. And other people have told me that they like the hat, and so I'm going to just make some more hats, design some more stuff, sell them off. Probably we'll do, you know, upside of doing like hats and other things like that is that I can do more than just Star Wars, right? I can do Zelda hats, I can do Mario hats, I can do all sorts of other cool things that I like. So definitely don't feel bad. This is a choice that I'm making. I just don't like people that get all bent out of shape over a toy. Right? Like, I get you paid some money for it, but I mean, trust me, the time that I put into I don't think I've ever, on any commission that I've ever worked for anybody, made more than $5 an hour. Like, I can't even imagine. Sweet Etsy shot, call it Carrington's Caprices. Probably not that. Right. I mean, that's kind of what I want to do. I want like my whole like fill of hats, right? So when I'm flying, you know, just awesome different stuff, just, you know, and it's just something different, something else that I can do that will you know, create that creative spark in me a little bit. So this is this black. Right, I'm just kind of, I think I went a little overboard on his feet, so just dimming it down just a hair, right? I don't want it to be I don't want it to be crazy, but I think we got it. To me, that looks like the lava is lighting up his foot. We might have to come back in here and kind of figure out the light source on this section, but to me, I think we got that section down. Now let's do the light on his head from the lightsaber. Carapaces. Well, caprices would also be funny, but I just got the purple U-wing I painted for the giveaway, and it looks amazing. You're welcome, man. That was a lot of that. I mean, so I'm not gonna stop painting stuff, right? I mean, we're for at least the foreseeable future till Dion gets mad and kicks me off of this. I'm gonna be painting here every Monday and Thursday, right? We're not going anywhere. We're gonna have plenty of stuff, and then all my painted stuff is all gonna be around. But just people messaging me and saying, hey, you know, can you do this special thing for me? Like, you know, might be an event that I'm like, okay, I'll do prize support for an event, right? Because then I'll have a hard deadline of when I have to have stuff done and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not trying to meet one person's requirements, right? I can just paint. But when people message me and say, hey, I want this special thing, you know, I'll probably here in the future be winding up telling them no thank you. But there are plenty of commission painters who are very good. So let's look at this. So we're gonna have this lightsaber right there. So the light is gonna come in here. Let me put this. Put that down so we can kind of take a look at this together. When I have this lightsaber here, right? This is kind of where the lightsaber goes out to, and it spreads light in kind of a 360-degree angle. So what that means is that Vader's head over here is going to have a little bit of light onto it, and his hands over here is going to have a little bit of light onto it, and his cape over here is going to have a little bit of light onto it, and his cape and his hands right there are going to have light onto it. Now, the OSL that maybe you saw here, maybe you didn't, I wasn't really explicit in how that worked, is that the closer the light is to an object, the more intense that color is going to be. So as you extend away from the model, make sure to lower the intensity of the glow that you're creating. So Vader's head, farther away than this part of the cloak. So this part of the cloak should be a little brighter than this part of the helmet. This hand is a little farther than that shoulder. So this hand should have a little less glow to it than the shoulder does. So we'll kind of work from there. We'll kind of work from this idea that the center point here is kind of our focal point that we're kind of going across to. I'm not necessarily going to worry about the bottom of his cloak. I might hit this little section just really quick, but I'm not going to really worry about his knee or anything like that. Got a lot of light sources and stuff going on right now. I don't want to... I'm worried a bit that we're going to muddy it too much, and we're not going to have a... and it's going to be hard to like understand when you look at the model what exactly is going on. So we really want to avoid that. So we kind of hit... And the thing that we want to keep in mind is that sometimes subtle works really well. I mean, clearly this is daytime, so Vader is kind of in a you know, in his own place there, and I think that is maybe exactly where we want. Let's take a look. Like, this is too much. We're gonna have to bring that down a little bit. But otherwise, I'm really liking how that glow came out. It's just enough that, like, I think you can understand that it's glow, and on his legs you can understand that that's orange. Right, exactly. This needs to be subtle. Okay, so the last thing that we're gonna do, I'm gonna take my drill press. This has a pretty big bit on it, but all I want to do is create a little notch for the saber to plop into. I feel like I'm kind of like jumping all over the place, so so I apologize if it feels like I'm disjointed tonight, because I'm a little out of practice. It takes a lot of practice to talk and paint at the same time. You guys remember my first couple episodes? I was not very good at it. There we go. I mean, we're almost there. We got a little bit of upkeep. Maybe on this cloak right here. Audio is going a bit robot-y. Okay, well, let me try something. I don't know. Give me just a second. I'll be back. Yarr. Okay, so is that better? Okay. I told you before that I worked as an archaeologist in a previous life. Now I work in IT mostly. I do specialized stuff in IT, but you know, first rule of all good IT is if it's not working right, just unplug it and plug it back in and see if it works better. Man, I'm happy with how this Vader's coming out. I think we hopefully you guys agree, but I hope we did this very special Vader piece some justice. Because there are not many of these Vaders in the world, at least right now. I mean, who knows? They might, in a year or so, they might release this specific Vader as a regular model, and that'll be fine. But for now, you know, all these are at least a little bit precious, so definitely want to paint it up right. Yeah, did you reboot it? Has it updated? Right. All you guys know, you know. Okay. So, I think we're there, though. I think we're just about there. I'm going to take a little bit of black here, and we're going to do a couple things. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to take a little black, and I'm going to mix this orange just slightly with the black. Okay, we're going to have it's almost going to be like this muddy color. But what I want to do down here, down by his boot, is I want to kind of add in some of this definition here of places that aren't going to be getting that light, but might be getting like a secondary reflective glow. Right, so it's just something that about while you're this probably would have been better as like a glaze if I would have glazed this down. So when you're doing OSL, okay, and this is like lots of mistakes that beginners make, okay, when you're doing OSL, you got to think, all right, how many light sources am I going to have? If you're doing just a lightsaber, right, think about is the room that Vader's in. If it's dark, this is going to put out a lot of glow. You remember Rogue One? At the end of Rogue One, remember how much like bright light is coming off of the lightsaber onto Vader? That's because the room is super dark. If you have another source of light, you know, coming in, that's your highlighting to, then this is going to be less, right? If it's daytime and he's in the middle of a field, it's going to be less. The same thing goes for, you know, light coming off of the ground, right? If you have lava coming off of the ground, see how this light here that we lightened up, this is still brighter than the glow from the lava. But at nighttime, if this was a darker room, if this was a darker Vader piece that we were painting, this glow might be a lot brighter, especially if this was like mostly lava and this was really hot. So when you're working on this stuff, it's really important to keep that in mind, because that will save your paint. That will save your eventual the way that it'll save your final result. So I just painted on a little bit of black and then I just wiped most of it away. That's just a small, that's like a silly trick that I use that tends to work more often than not. Just a little bit of paint will dry in that a few seconds, and then take it off, and that it kind of acts like a glaze. It's just lazy. So if that lazy trick works for you, then congratulations, good luck with that. But I use it from time to time. All right. So here we are. I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot more that I really want to do to this piece. Does anybody have any suggestions, thoughts? Here, let me get like a super close up of I don't know where my mouse went. Oh, my mouse decided to just die. Okay, well, that's fine. Even the Mona Lisa's falling apart, I guess. All right. I think you're really close to overworking as is. I agree. All right, so my mouse just totally died. All right, we might lose the camera for a second. Hold on. Ugh. Okay. All right. So we lost the face cam, but we still have the microphone, so that's fine. Let me reset the face camera. I had to unplug and replug in. There we go. Boop. Okay. So let's get a closer view of this. Yeah, we did quite a bit on this model. But I feel like it's looking pretty natural. I really think the saber glow came out right. The lava seems to look pretty good, seems to look pretty natural. I think maybe we should just seal it, call it quits, look at some pictures of some other people's stuff, and be good. Right. The reference is a good. So there's ambient light coming from here, and then the saber has a second light source, and it doesn't hit Vader's helmet at all. It just hits his cape. I reset the mouse. We're good. We're good. We got it. We got it. It's funny. I can tell the people who are watching on mobile and the people who are watching on their desktop, because the people on, I always find that when I'm on the desktop, I have like 3 or 4 second lag, but when I'm on mobile, it's always like 15-20 seconds. Okay, so sealing. Something when you're dealing with this acrylic, right? You you can't seal it with just you can't just spray on your sealer and to call it good. You have to use you have to tape it up or something. You have to cover it in some way while you're varnishing it. We're gonna really seal this guy. I find that on Legion pieces or on any sort of 25mm pieces, it tends to get much harder use than X-Wing pieces. So, where's my tape? Man, I don't have anything. I don't have, all my stuff is gone right now. Hold on. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys, over the course of this last month, while my wife was while we were figuring all this pregnancy stuff out and go into like figuring out like, okay, how do we have a baby and all that stuff, it's my in-laws have been here for 22 days. 22 days of in-laws. So I've been a little stressed out, but they left today, so that was kind of nice. Oh, anyway, story about the green eyes being canon. Oh, hey Lou, how's it going? Luke number 2, second best. It's not true, but all right. In episode 4, the concept art had Vader with green tint to the eyes, and even in 4 you could see the actor's eyes in certain shots. Rebels did that for Vader as a callback, but 5 and 6 his visor was blacked out. Oh, okay, good to know. Okay, so got some of that gloss varnish. You want your PSI to be just a little higher when you do varnishing. You'll get better results. Just trust me. So, when you varnish, a lot of times I'll just do a matte varnish, right? And that works just great. Matte varnish will protect your model, and it also will bring down, it will give the same reflectivity from your paints everywhere. Okay? The same point though, gloss varnish protects models way better than matte varnish does. Gloss varnish has some sort of, the way that the resin is in gloss varnish, it's just much more protective. So, if you are going to plan on using your models quite a bit, you should plan on giving it some gloss varnish and then giving it some matte varnish. Don't stop at the gloss varnish, because models that are just gloss varnish look bad. And you don't want your model looking bad because of your finish, right? So, you know, you can half it. If you only want to do one, you can half it and go with like a satin varnish. But really, just use a gloss varnish and a matte varnish. It'll just be, your life will be better. So we'll give this a little bit of air. I don't know about that, number 2. So what's interesting is that we can use matte varnish on everything, or we can leave Vader's helmet as slightly glossed. I'm not sure what I'm really leaning towards right now. Since we painted in the light source for his helmet, I kind of want to just make it all matte so that it's just done. I'm looking for my cans of dull coat. Oh, there they are. Because we'll probably just use that instead of airbrushing matte varnish onto it. These are almost empty. Always floss, never gloss. Yeah, never leave a model gloss that looks bad. Okay, so just using this Tester's dull coat. It's just the best. It just brings, it's the only thing that I've found that actually brings everything to its actual flat. And it's never clouded up on me. So that makes a huge difference too. And clouding means when you spray it, it actually creates like, it actually fuzzes over, right? And we definitely don't want that. So I'm just giving it some air now. We're gonna finish it up, then we'll look at Discord pictures, and then we'll be done for the night. I know we're finishing kind of early, but I'm getting back into the swing of things, guys. What do you want to paint? What do you want to paint next week? What do you want to paint on Monday? We got all sorts of ships. Like Dion brought us a ton of ships. We have like basically everything at this point. Let's pull a little flag off. And let's peel this down. Be at least a little careful. There you go. And boom. We have a Legion Darth Vader. Well, we have paint a Shadowcaster. We've done a Shadowcaster before. Something for Wave 4. We have a B-Wing, Chewie's Falcon, Desi or Ghost. We can do one of those. That would be fun. So you want to? What I'm hearing is you guys want a big ship. We do have a quad jumper. Dion brought us a whole bunch of stuff. But we can do a big ship next. Big ship might be fun. Let me think about it. But we'll get there. So when it's all sealed, let's see if I can't pull up this thing. Alright. So when it's all sealed, it looks kind of like this is kind of the end result. Could paint a rock off the ground, I still watch. Aw, thanks, man. So there, I think we did a pretty good job. I, for one, would be happy to see that across from me on the table. I would think that person put in a lot of effort and did a really good job. That's if I saw it somewhere else. I mean, I'm not I'm sure there are little things that we could do to make this even better, but for all models, there's a time. You have to pick a time that you're just gonna be done. You can paint a model forever. It's just at what point is it good enough? So that is gonna go back into, after it dries, after I take some pictures, that's gonna go back into this Star Wars Legion box right here. Boom. It's gonna get sent off to the man, and he's gonna give it away. I'm wondering if this foam is thick enough that I can cut out Vader's profile and have him fit. I think it is. That'll be great. All right. Well, let's get looking at some Discord. Discord app. Oh, there it is. I forgot on this computer I have the actual like Windows app of Discord and not the and not logged in under the web browser. Okay, so we go here. Let's go to the Gold Squadron podcast, and then let's swap to this. Just gonna do a quick check. Yep. Okay, looks like we're there. For those of you that aren't on our Discord, you should be. That's great. Let's go look at this gallery. Oh yeah, Road Dog. Here we go. So this is a really cool approach. I like this a lot. So he did this very, very two-tone OSL style that I think doesn't necessarily lend itself like amazingly to Darth Vader as a character figure, but as an art piece, this looks great. Got so much bright from the lightsaber. You can see all the light is coming from the lightsaber because the lightsaber here is the brightest part. Goes here. These are the darkest parts, right underneath the cape. You can see that that's darker than where the light is immediately hitting it. On the other side, right as the light, you see kind of the tone right as where the light goes away. And you can see where the rest of Vader comes in. Yeah, this is really cool. And this is kind of like what we were talking about with OSL, like cranked up to 50, right? And that's great. That's so very cool, Road Dog. So we see this. Oh, what are you? Ugh. Why do I have a green light there? Well, let's open the original. Okay, so. Can see we have, oh yeah, so this is really good actually. So when we see the side picture, you can see how well he's highlighted up the top of Vader's helmet, the side of Vader. This is phenomenal. This is really good work. Yep. Cape in the come on man. Cape in the cloak look great. Got some highlights going all the way down. Got some really the cape looks very interesting. Kind of looking at my cape now, thinking maybe I need to go back on it a little bit and kind of finish up some of the highlights on the cape, do a little bit more on it. Oh. And look at that. Look how nice that light comes down here. That looks really good. Really nice transition. When you have like a single light source, sometimes those transitions in reality are really hard, right? And so that's really great. He's a fantastic painter. Bantha Herder and Dr. Weston, you know better than to be posting in the gallery section. Post in the gallery discussion. I'm gonna have to delete your comments. guys. Okay. What else do we have? We have Crazy Vulcan showing us some life-size X-Wing. That's pretty great. I wonder if they have life-size dials, too. Battle Star Wars, Roger, Roger, by your command. I think, maybe this is a Battlestar Galactica reference. These are Cylons. They look nice. Nice and chrome. Really cool. Tape ball. Yeah, we talked about this. So orange is a super hard color. Looks like he pulled it off though. Nice, nice circles on the B-wing. Would like to see maybe a little bit of canopy color right there, and a little more definition on these engines here. Like, this is a time that you could just use a wash. Just go right over this gray with a wash, and boom, even better. Bring that thing just right up to the next level, just with like just a couple quick things. Just a wash right here on that, a wash on the guns with kind of a black wash, and then just any old color, red, blue, green, doesn't matter. Pick one, put it into the canopy cockpit, right, and then leave the rest of that as black. And that ship already looks good, but will look even better. From someone that that got his name wrong, clearly. Happy Father's Day to him. Vulture droids. Nice little white, nice little blue Army Painter paints. Awesome. Detail brush. Looks like you're gonna be having a fun couple nights painting those guys up. Man, oh, I saw these dials that George had. These are great. Oh, I don't know why why it's just like kind of greening out right there, but these are so good. So single color, right? Started off with kind of a dark brown, right, and then started working in this rust, right? Look how it puts the rust on the edges and kind of like random but seeming natural places, right? Started off with kind of a more of an orange and worked towards a brighter orange. Really good example of rust here. And then it's kind of silver where the paint kind of chipped off. I think these look really good. They're really effective, especially for dials. Dials sometimes are hard to be like exceptionally effective on. Look at these lightning bolts. These are great. Red lightning bolts and blue lightning bolts. I can't remember seeing both red and blue lightning on the same thing ever. So this is pretty unique. I really like it. Good job. And then what's this one? This one is, yeah, so this one is then the super clean version of both of those, right? Really nice fade. Look at that. That fade is great. And you guys know how small that logo is. Getting a fade like that is difficult work. We got some really good painters in here, guys. This is awesome. Lord Raven, who's been I thought Lord Raven is a pretty new painter, and these look great. These are amazing. Obviously there's things to work on, but I mean the scheme is good, right? The gold and the black and the blue canopy and the white, it all works for all of them. All that needs to get done now is make that black a little bit more effective, right? Instead of being black, push it into a little bit of gray, and then tone down to black, right? And there you go. You got some great stuff going on. Tycho Chelchu 505 has his squad done in kind of the color, this red and black color scheme. This thing looks amazing. I forget what it's called. It's called the Tirani Kolda ship. Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but it looks great. Super good. Oh, another thing that the real Luke #1, aka Lou the Lunatic, came up with. Nice Deadpool inspired, obviously. And beat up just like Deadpool is. Looks good. Looks fun. I really like it. Something that you could do to be a little bit better is maybe start doing a little bit of outlining on your cockpits, right? So if the cockpit's black, just kind of start working on that brush control and start kind of lining out where that cockpit is. It's going to make that like pop up a lot more effectively. Unless that's not your goal and you were thinking that these were going to be like the eyes, right? And that was going to be kind of like a living Deadpool ship. In which case you nailed it. Bayonetta, the Bayonetta Punisher by Kieran. Yeah, this looks good. Same things though. We got the black inside some of this gray, but we don't have it in all of it. Everything on this is really effective. It just needs to get just worked up just a little bit more. You can, again, outlining this cockpit in black would really help everything. But otherwise, I mean, we're doing great. This is awesome. The black probably needs to get pushed up just a little bit. It needs to be a little bit more gray, worked down to black, or black worked up to gray. But the freehand, though, look at this. The freehand is awesome. So good. I mean, there's nothing to say about that other than it looks great. Man, has it been this long since we looked at stuff? I think so. We saw the Julian ship. We saw the party's over. We saw this purple Mace Windu last time. And that looks really good. We'll go down to where we... So, Tycho... Oh yeah, he painted up this red one. It went with the rest of his, the red and black fleet, which looked great. Dracona just finished up his Separatists. Very nice. These look so good. Look at those. Nice beige color on them. I think the beige color with the black. Oh man, that's a great scheme. This looks awesome. Let's zoom in on that a little bit. Oh, maybe too far. Got some red on there. Got the little notches. Got some battle damage. Everything on that looks just awesome. I love this red. This red Beelzebub looks just phenom. Good work. Oh yeah, Horibat came up with his little hawk mod. So I really like this. I really like this shading on the windows. Like the like how it's kind of like you can see the brush strokes. I think that's really effective. You can see the brush strokes here. This whole style is great. Added a little wing, added a kind of an extension onto the gun. Super cool. Super cool. Maybe a little too gold for my taste, but you know, not my ship, so that's okay. Yeah, real nice. The mod's done nice too. You can't really tell. It doesn't immediately look like it's not the ship, right? These little wings, small but effective. That's an Outrider gun, I assume, from a 2400. All right, and then we have some whole bunch of stuff here. The Jedi Starfighter looks really cool. I like the kind of pink, red, and teal. That's a nice color combination. Everything kind of seems to be in the lines. Looks to be highlighted. Good job. Good job. Keep working. This is cool too. Looks like there's some dry brush practice maybe on this. I like it. It feels, these four feel just a little bit messy to me, and I feel like, you know, like the brush stroke goes all the way down these three panels. It feels like something like this could be messy if you cleaned it up just a little bit. You were a little more controlled with how you were being messy, right? So if you're being messy within a single panel, like here, like this looks okay. It looks like the paint is scuffed and all this kind of stuff, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense as a scrape would go down like this and here and here and here, right? This reminds me of a paintbrush, right? Stroke. This reminds me of, I wonder if this is like battle damage or something else. So just kind of keep that in mind as you guys are painting. It's okay to be messy, but you have to be messy in like a controlled, effective manner. Cool. And I think that's it. So let's go back to... And let's go back to our chat. Okay. So I just picked up blood. I'm going back in chat for a minute. I just picked up Blood Red Skies. Now I have a lot of little Spitfires. I need to think of a paint scheme. I don't know if historic would be good or more flavorful. OBS can't tell what layer it's supposed to be. Okay, so it's mask it with green. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. That's fine. We can... That's fixable. Looks like a good candidate for angle deflector stuff. Nice. Towel fighters, right. Hand painted Wog on Vader. Wog. Right. Oh, no. See, J-Road. J-Road just said, didn't mean to make you want to work on your cloak more. No, that's not it at all. I mean, we have very different styles about how this guy's painted. Side by side, I'm not sure that anybody would really notice or care, but as I was kind of looking at it, I was thinking, man, like, you're giving me good ideas, and that's the beauty of painting. And once you get out of the mindset of that you are competing with other people, okay, there's a fine line between I'm competing with other people because I want to have the best paint out there, and I'm trying to make my paint look the best that it can. So I'm looking at other people's work and trying to gain some sort of insight, right? The second thing is where you should be, right? If you're trying to actually work out your stuff, you shouldn't be taking the fact that other people can paint better than you, personally, okay? Because people will always be able to paint better than you. No matter how good you are, as Qui-Gon Jinn said, right? There's always a bigger fish. There's always someone who's better. And once you get to the level of, let's say that you worked so hard that you were always in the contention for, best painter around, right? Even then, at that point, it just comes down to style, right? It comes down to what do you think? Do you like their style more, or do you like the other person's style more? And did they pull off that specific piece better or worse, right? So don't definitely learn from other people. As if someone does something better, like J-Road did on this cloak, right? He did the OSL different, but I really like how he finished highlighting the cloak. So I'm just going back really quick, and we're just gonna push in a little bit of gray onto the cloak, and it's not gonna take very long, but it will but it's going to make, I think, this piece maybe just a little better. So you can't compete with people. If you compete with people in painting, you're gonna be other than like a painting competition, right? But even then, it's more for fun. Right. You just want to take inspiration from people and kind of learn from it. Yeah, yours is for a display. That's the point of the character. Yeah. I mean, right. And it will not be played. I went with a non-lava but crystal vase to avoid 2 light sources. Right. I mean, you have 2 light sources, right? You have on yours you have the light coming in from this side and the light coming in from this side. If you only had a single light source, then over here would be perfectly black, right? And you would just have just the light coming in from here and then black, because there wouldn't be any more light to kind of light around the room. So you have 2 light sources, but you don't have 3 light sources from lava, right? Anyway, but yeah, this is I don't know if this will ever get played either. I mean, this is gonna get shipped off to some Patreon somewhere, and they might not ever play it. Who knows? They might, you know, wind up just putting it for sale, and that's totally fine too. If you ever win something from Gold Squadron that I painted, and you are never gonna play it, put it up on sale. What's up, Mega Silver? How you doing? We finished off this this bad boy tonight. So I think it's 8:56, so I think we're gonna wrap this up. But thank you guys so much for stopping back in. I know I've been away. You know, having a kid does that. Life gets in the way. But we're gonna but that I shouldn't be taking too much time. I shouldn't be taking any more time off. Yes, you did make a silver. We had the baby last Thursday. Her name is Evelyn, and she is just cute as a button. And so we're going to yeah, so but no more times off. Mondays, Thursdays as normal, and we're gonna be doing some Super Smash here soon. And I'm gonna find a big ship. It sounded like people wanted to paint a big ship next, so I'll find a big ship that we can paint up, and we'll kind of move forward with that. Guys, you guys are awesome. I think the world of you. So with that, I think I'm going to sign off for now. Make sure to join our Discord, hang out with us. If you have a spare Twitch Prime, here's your reminder that you can use that on this channel. And we would just totally appreciate it. Patreon. If you're not on the Patreon, you're not hanging out, and you're not there, you know, you're missing out on some pretty cool alternate art cards. Just saying. So if you want to support us, those are kind of good ways that you can do that. But for this channel, though, you know, just supporting us here is great. Hit me up in messages with my Facebook. Okay, I'm not sure who you are in real life, but I'll try. I'll hit you up on Discord to figure out what your real life name is. So, okay, well, cool guys. I'll see you later. Be awesome. With that.